Cylinders and cylindrical items. This video is going to be some real basics about how to draw and think about cylindrical items. And I say cylindrical items and objects because there's so many items and objects out in the world that are cylindrical are basically cylindrical in their three-dimensional form, structure, and understanding the basics is just going to be a great help in understanding how to draw all sorts of things, from coffee mugs to wine bottles to garbage cans to telephone poles to trees and branches and all sorts of things. So this is going to be just really sort of the basics. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but understanding how they will behave visually and how they will appear visually. I'm going to assume that we're talking about a cylinder that's straight up and down, as it's oriented to the viewer, kind of straight up and down. These are the three scenarios I'm going to talk about in just a second, but I'm going to actually first use a little handy-dandy visual aid to try to help get the concept across. So, yeah, go get something cylindrical or not. But what's helpful to think about is where the cylinder is in relation to the point of view. In this scenario, the point of view, or the is going to be that of the camera. But when you do this with your actual eyeballs, you will see something similar that you'll see here. It just so happens that the camera is substituting for what your eyeballs would be seeing. So the camera, when this is when the top is exactly at eye level with the camera, you'll see that it's basically a straight line across, and you won't be able to see the top or the bottom. And as it starts going below eye level or below horizon, you'll start seeing that ellipse more and more. As it comes up, it's going to eye level, it's going to disappear. And that as it starts going above, you'll see the curve getting more pronounced, the ellipse, the top side, and at some point the bottom will reach eye level and it will appear straight. And as it keeps going up, I will see the bottom side of that ellipse. As it keeps going up, I'll see more. So I'll explain a little bit more of just how this relates to perspective, and but the basics are that at eye level, you won't be able to see any of that circle, and as it starts changing, you'll see either part of the top circle and not the back side of it, or you'll be able to see all of it in a perspective sort of way, and it'll be an ellipse. So I do find it helpful to get an actual object and think about moving it in relation to your actual eye level and thinking about that. So now I'm going to just discuss the basics of how I would go about drawing a cylinder. I almost always like to begin with a center axis. A cylinder being symmetrical, it's going to be critical to think about the center axis that, and I have another visual aid. By center axis, I'm talking about sort of the imaginary line that would be going through the cylindrical item, represented here by my skewer. But it's good to start thinking of that as the center axis, and that we're eventually going to be thinking of ellipses going around that axis. So for this first example, I have created that axis. I am going to now define how high I want that, how tall I want that cylinder to be. And then I'm going to indicate where the cylinder turns to the point where I can't see the backside of it anymore. The top part is going to have this half of an ellipse, the other half being out of sight. And the bottom part, I'll be able to see the entire ellipse. So it will be something like that. Once again, just trying to get the basics and understanding what you're going to see depending on what scenario. Here I'm going to do one that's below the horizon, another one like this that's below the horizon. Start with my center axis. Indicate how high, the height I want it to be. Sketch in the sides. I'm sort of resisting saying sides because it's not technically sides, but these are all construction marks, lines, so that's fine to think of it that way for now. Because it's below eye level, I'll see the top. I won't see the bottom, but I will see this part of one half of the ellipse. So that's the basic scenario for that one. This guy over here, I'll make a smaller one sort of in here. Begin the same way. Center axis. Indicate how high. Let's make this one wider. See, that side is over there. Much like our warm-up exercises, I'm really doing these, really thinking about, is this portion equal to this portion when I'm doing these construction lines. So this is above the horizon, the eye level. So I will see the top of this curving, half of the fairly flat ellipse in this case. The rest of it will be behind here. And down here I will also see, won't be able to see either the bottom side either, is what I was trying to get at. It still is extremely helpful to imagine that indeed that ellipse is there, even though I'm not technically drawing it in all the way. Be doing more on ellipses because they can be quite tricky, but the basics of the ellipse I've been trying to indicate a little bit. But in going back to thinking about when I was moving this salt shaker container, it's all purpose. Hey, it's sea salt too. how it relates to eye level is that when at eye level, the imaginary ellipse that represents sort of the cross section of any one of these cylinders is going to be flat. As it starts moving away, either above or below eye level, it will begin to become more curvy in both directions. Curvy, that's the technical term. As I keep going down, getting further away from eye level, it will become more curvy. And I'll explain that, but this is just sort of a good concept to kind of understand. Sometimes I think of like a coconut tree. And how these cross contours, that's a whole nother idea, but will become curvy in a fashion like this. So this that's the basics. I'm going to stop there and do a quick one on some common tricky parts, as well as some shading stuff.